Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is continuing to play out the short-term rejection from resistance, but is still inside this ascending triangle pattern alongside Ethereum here on the larger time frames. But while this is happening, the liquidation heat map is revealing where prices may be heading next. So I'll be talking about that in just a moment. Definitely stick around. First of all, just giving you a really quick update here on the weekly Bitcoin chart. And of course, right now, the price of Bitcoin is still struggling in this major area of resistance, sitting in between around 36,000 to 38,000. And so once again, as I've been saying since all the way back down here at this breakout at around 27 to 28,000, the Bitcoin price will likely head up towards around 36 to 38K. But in this price range, 36 to 38K is likely where the price will struggle at least in the short term, which is now happening. But eventually, if we ultimately break out above 38,000, whether that's after a sideways consolidation or pullback, either way, if we eventually break out above 38K with confirmation, then the next important resistance is sitting at around 42,000. And above that, we have some more resistance at around 48 to 49,000 here on the weekly time frame. And of course, in terms of the larger trend at play, we are still clearly within a larger bullish trend, forming significant higher lows and higher highs, even if we do see a short-term pullback. Once again, that can still occur within the much larger bullish trend. And if you're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin chart, of course, we do have this previous bearish divergence, and we have not yet broken the higher high price structure here in the price of Bitcoin. And of course, the RSI is still technically sitting in lower highs. And so once again, based on the price oscillators on the daily time frame, these are just basically telling us that the short-term bullish trend here on the daily time frame, just this bullish trend here, different from the larger bullish trend. Basically, that short-term bullish trend on the daily time frame is losing momentum as of right now. But once again, as I've also said over the last couple of weeks, I would not necessarily expect a massive significant pullback, at least anytime soon, while the DXY is still dumping. Because as you can see here on this daily Bitcoin chart, of course, the candlesticks is the price action, and this red line is the DXY or US dollar index. And I won't be going too much into detail about this chart in this video today, because I have done that in recent videos here on the channel. But basically, all you need to know is the majority of the time when the DXY is bullish, that is almost always bearish for Bitcoin, and vice versa. When the DXY is bearish, that is almost always bullish for the price of Bitcoin in terms of the trends here on the daily time frame. And so once again, even though we are losing some bullish momentum due to bearish divergences, for example, and the price oscillators losing momentum here, even though that's still currently happening, once again, I would not necessarily expect a massive pullback, like a 15-20% pullback or anything bigger than that, at least while the DXY is still bearish. Now, obviously, the DXY can eventually flip bullish again, and in that case, we could potentially see a larger pullback in the price of Bitcoin, possibly a 15 to 20% pullback. But once again, that will likely not happen while the DXY is still looking like this. But as I've also said, of course, we can still see day-to-day volatility in the price of Bitcoin, which when you're talking about Bitcoin can be usually around 5% moves to either direction is usual day-to-day volatility. And so, for example, if we see a 5% dump in the price of Bitcoin or even an 8% dump, something like that, of course, that is in the realm of possibility, even while the DXY is dumping, because that's just the day-to-day volatility of Bitcoin. But once again, when it comes to the larger pullbacks or short-term bearish trends here on the daily time frame, like 20% pullbacks or more, once again, I would not necessarily expect that right now while the DXY is bearish. I would want to see a bullish reversal in the DXY before expecting a larger pullback. And so overall, in terms of the trend, we are still looking bullish. We're just basically losing some bullish momentum in the short term, which is why we've seen a lot of choppy sideways price action over the last couple of weeks. And now, if you're zooming into the shorter term, looking at the 8-hour Bitcoin chart, obviously, as you can see here, the price of Bitcoin is still trading within this ascending parallel channel, which is technically the price trending in the bullish direction, forming higher lows and higher highs. And in case you're wondering, this line of resistance is sitting at approximately 38.7K. This center line is sitting at approximately 37.4K to 37.5K, and this line of support is sitting at approximately 36.2K. And so for as long as the price of Bitcoin bounces sometime before 36.2K or at 36.2K, then obviously we can still remain within this ascending parallel channel and continue with the short-term bullish trend. But if we end up seeing a confirmed break back below around 36.2 36.2k approximately, then obviously that would be the first bearish signal here on the 8-hour time frame, pointing towards a break of the short-term bullish trend. And so from there, if we do end up breaking that level of support, then from there I'd be looking for potential lower lows in the price below this previous low, and this previous low is sitting at around 35.7k approximately. And of course, if we break below that low, that would confirm a lower low in the price, one of the first lower lows that we've seen in a while, once again confirming a bit more of a short-term bearish trend potentially beginning to form. And in that scenario, we should have a decent amount of support around these lows just here, which is sitting at around 33 to 34k approximately. And here on the daily time frame, we also have a lot more support in between around 30.5k to 31.5k. But once again, I would not expect a pullback all the way back down there until at least we see some sort of reversal in the DXY. Once again, if the DXY remains like this, then personally, I would not be expecting a pullback all the way to these prices. And instead, we're likely just seeing some day-to-day volatility as of right now, if the DXY remains dumping. And now zooming further into the shorter term, looking at the 6-hour Bitcoin chart, obviously we are continuing the short-term rejection exactly from this area of resistance that I've been talking about on the channel. And once again, this resistance is sitting in between around 37.6k to 38k. And obviously just a few days ago, we did see a slight wick to the upside above 38k, but we did not end up confirming any significant candle closes above 38,000. And so obviously 38k is still the level to break for the price of Bitcoin. And now that we're seeing a rejection from that resistance, we could be heading towards this ascending line of support. Once again, it's sitting at around 36.2k. But obviously this is not the first time this has happened over the last couple of weeks. We've seen this happen time and time again over the last couple of weeks. Rejections from this same area of resistance all the way back down towards this ascending line of support, and then bouncing to form this ascending triangle pattern. And this pattern only actually confirms and activates a technical price target once we first confirm a breakout either above this resistance or below this support. And if you're measuring out that technical price target for this ascending triangle pattern, if we see a breakout above resistance, that could take the price of Bitcoin up towards around $41,000. But on the flip side, if we see a confirmed break below that line of support, then that could set up a price target down towards around 33.5k, which is where we also should find some support. And so until then, until we actually see a confirmed break either below that support or above this resistance, until then, we're basically chopping around in this triangle pattern and just waiting for a confirmation on where we are heading next. And if you want to prepare in advance for this next trade in the price of Bitcoin, whether we're breaking to the downside or to the upside, then make sure you have an account ready to go either at Bybit or Bitflex. And I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit in the description down below and in the pinned comment, which is one of the most popular trading exchanges. And in fact, if you use the link down below this video to make a Bybit account, you can get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus just by using that link down below and making a deposit. But unfortunately, due to regulations in some countries, you may not be able to access Bybit in certain countries. And so if that's the case, there is also Bitflex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit, but you don't need KYC for Bitflex. And if you use the link down below this video to make a Bitflex account, simply deposit $100 worth of crypto or more and make one trade over on Bitflex on the derivatives market. That can get you a 10 USDT bonus, which you can actually withdraw. And so as I've been saying, that's basically a free 10% return on a $100 deposit. And so if you're trading crypto anyway, or if you're preparing to trade crypto, you might as well check out those links down below to make an account with one of those exchanges if you want those extra bonuses. But anyway, taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, taking a look at the last 3 days worth of price history, and what we can see is just recently the price of Bitcoin has actually liquidated a few long positions, but in this time period where the price has been dropping just recently, of course, more short positions have now started to open up, which means we do have a decent amount of short liquidations sitting at around 38.1k approximately. And so essentially, if we confirm a breakout above that 38k resistance, then we could end up seeing a small short squeeze at around 38.1k, sending the price higher. And sometimes these area of liquidations, these liquidity zones, sometimes attract the price of Bitcoin towards these zones. And so basically, if we end up seeing the price of Bitcoin either bounce at 36.2k or before 36.2k, basically remaining within this ascending triangle pattern, then in that case, if we do see a successful bounce like that, then we would likely see the price of Bitcoin return back up towards around 38,000. But obviously that potential bounce in question has not yet been confirmed, so we need to wait and can see that actually play out. And of course, if we see a break below 36.2k, then zooming out on the liquidation heat map, what we can see over the last 1 month worth of price history, of course, a lot of long positions have been opened over the last 1 month as the larger trend has been more bullish despite the short-term pullback. And so due to that, there are a lot of long liquidations sitting at around 33.9k to 34k. And so essentially, if we break below that line of support at around 36.2k, then once again, 34,000 is basically acting as a magnet, drawing the price of Bitcoin towards 34,000. And so it is important for the price of Bitcoin to actually hold this ascending line of support. Otherwise, we are likely going towards around 34,000. But anyway, getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this is on the weekly time frame. And of course, right now, the price of ETH is still rejecting and struggling from this major area of resistance, sitting in between around $2,000 to $2,150. And so, like I've been saying recently on the channel, of course, 2,150 is still the level to break for the price of ETH. And until then, of course, we are still technically forming this massive ascending triangle pattern, which is statistically a bullish pattern because it's more likely to break out to the upside than to the downside. But obviously, because we have not yet confirmed a breakout above this resistance, above around 2150, of course, it still remains a possibility we could end up seeing a short-term rejection within this pattern. And if you're taking a look at the daily time frame, of course, we have seen another perfect rejection from this area of resistance, sitting in between around 2120 to 2150. And right now, the price of ETH is running into a bit of short-term support at around 1990 to 2010, based on this Fibonacci level, and also these previous highs acting as previous resistance, but now acting as a bit of short-term support. But if we end up seeing a break below around 2000, below around 1990, then in that case, we have some more support down towards around 1.9k and more support at around 1830. And at least for now on the daily time frame, we're still, of course, seeing choppy sideways price action because the momentum on the daily time frame is still not as strong as it was back here, for example. And so instead of seeing that high momentum movement to the upside, of course, right now, once again, we're likely going to see a bit more choppy sideways price action here on the daily time frame due to the lack in momentum, at least as of right now. But believe it or not, you can make a lot of money very easily in choppy sideways price action just like this. And if you want to know how to do that, then stick around to the end of this video to find out more. But first, taking a look at the 8-hour ETH to US dollar chart. And right now, this previous hidden bullish divergence is technically still active because at least for now, we have not yet broken the higher low structure here in the price. So in terms of the trend, of course, we're still looking more bullish than bearish. But with that being said, it is worth pointing out a weaker bearish divergence, which is here on the 8-hour chart. Of course, we have horizontal highs in the candle closes while seeing lower highs in the RSI. And now this type of bearish divergence is not a strong bearish divergence because a strong bearish divergence would be higher highs in the price and lower highs in the RSI. And so this type of bearish divergence with horizontal highs in the price and lower highs in the RSI, it's once again a medium to weak bearish divergence. And so this is perhaps one of the reasons as well as to why we're seeing a bit of a short-term pullback here in the price of ETH. But until we actually confirm a break below these previous lows, technically the price is still within bullish price structure. We're basically just seeing a lack in momentum as of right now in the trend on the daily time frame. And if you're zooming into the 4-hour ETH to US dollar chart, what we have seen just recently over the last 1 day is now the invalidation of this previous breakout for this previous descending broadening wedge pattern. Because obviously just recently the price has confirmed to break back below the point of the breakout, which was at approximately 2030. And so of course, due to this happening, this pattern, this breakout, and these price targets are no longer active anymore. And so when it comes to my breakout long position, which I entered right around here, which I did mention on the channel was a decent area to enter a long position just for a small trade. And as I continue to update you on over the next few days from that level right there, of course, I said to move stop losses into profits, or at least at break even at the entry price, because basically that is my personal trading strategy with these breakout trades. And once again, I did have an initial take profit at the first price target, which was sitting at around 2130. And so now obviously that is just my personal trading strategy, not personal financial advice for you. But if you did end up doing something similar, then obviously you would have entered the trade somewhere around 2040 to 2050 just after we broke out to the upsides. And then as the price continued the breakout just in the short term. Of course, once again, we had that take profit, taking some profits off the table out of that trade at this price target right here at around 21.30. And so already at that point, we secured some profits in the short term and of course moved the stop loss into profits, or at least at the entry price. And so in this scenario where the price just dumps straight back to the downside, we basically automatically exit the trade either in a slight profit or at break even, depending on where the stop loss is, with already some profits secured at the first price target. And so right now I am no longer in a short-term trade, but if a new trading setup becomes apparent on the chart, of course I'll let you know about it in these videos and also in real time over on my Twitter, link down below. But if you want to know how to make money in crypto, no matter if the price is going to the upside, to the downside, or simply chopping around sideways, you can make money in either of those scenarios by watching these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how to make money if the price is bullish or bearish using AI, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that's everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.